Everybody. Let's see. Tonight we are going to be talking about why do a 21-day purification to cleanse out our system. I just want to make some uh, things to clarify what we're going to be talking about tonight. And obviously, you all know that I am a chiropractor, but at the same time, I think that being a chiropractor, I think part of the responsibility also is helping people have overall health. I know it's important to get your spines adjusted on a regular, ongoing basis, something that I've been doing for quite a few years. But I also think it's important that we understand that in order for the body to be really, really healthy, we have to make sure that we have proper rest. We have to make sure that we are exercising on an ongoing basis. We have to make sure that we have a positive mental attitude, which is going to be, which is extremely important. We have to make sure that we are doing everything possible to keep our bodies in good health. So by doing that, we must have the right fuel in the human body. And more importantly, in order for all of this stuff to work, so if we get all those categories that I just talked about in proper place, then the system that's going to be most important is keeping your brain and nervous system functioning well. And that's where chiropractic comes in. So my theory, my philosophy is that it's much like having a really, really nice car. Looks beautiful, it's brand new. You get a manual to make sure that you're taking care of the maintenance on a regular basis. But the problem is that if you don't take care of that maintenance, it can be the most expensive car, but if it's not tuned up properly and the oil's not changed on a regular basis, that machine is not going to give you the quality of service that you would want. So when you get out to go start that car up in the morning, whatever, you want to make sure, and you're going to be assured that that car is going to operate well because you've taken good care of it. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight, so that we want you to understand that given all that we are going to be talking about in terms of doing a 21-day purification detox cleanse, although that is really very important, and this is something we are that I engage in on a twice a year basis, and I'll share with you the company that I use to help support me to making this happen. And I've had several of my patients to partake in the 21-day purification program, and my hope is that through doing this talk tonight, that many of you out there will want to engage in participating and also doing the 21-day purification program. Okay, so what is it? So what we're going to be talking about tonight is that the whole idea of and purpose of the 21-day purification really is to help you remove toxins from your body, and these toxins can be impacting us by way of external toxins and also internal toxins. So when we think about external toxins, there's God knows so many. We talk about approximately article I read, it says there are approximately 80,000 synthetic chemicals registered for the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reports that hundreds of these chemicals are present in our bodies. Research has shown that many of these chemicals can disrupt our immune system, our endocrine system, our nervous system, and our reproductive system. So, knowing that alone, I mean, that to me, given what we've all been through in the last 2 years of this so-called crisis that we've been participating in, many people have come to me, and you out there probably have encountered situations where you found yourself over the last few years overeating and perhaps getting overweight, feeling sluggish, not being able to get yourself back in the mode of actually getting to the gym, going for your walks, doing your meditations, making sure you're drinking the right amount of water that you need for your body. So a lot of things that have happened to us over the last 2 years that have played a major role in hopefully helping us see the value of doing a 21-day purification detox program. Okay, and I'm not talking about, people talking about just going on a 7-day fast, all water, and those are ways in which people can do that. But I think that a much safer a program that's much more doable, that's someone will start it and will be able to complete the entire 21 days, is the 21-day purification program that I have participated in through taking the standard process products. And that's what we're going to be talking about tonight, and we're going to be sharing with you about how to go about doing that, and how we can support you on that here at our office, so that any of you out there that would like to participate, all you would have to do is call the office. I'm here Monday through Thursday, 9 to 1, 3 to 6, and you can actually call the office and schedule an appointment for you to come in, and I'll be more than happy to sit down and go over with you how the program works, and the cost of it, and how we charge for the service that we do for the 21-day purification program. And it's just valuable. So we'll basically, what I'm saying to you, we'll teach you and show you how the product works. During that time, I promise you, you won't be starving, and you'll be able to really participate. And someone's trying to call me, but I don't think that's going to work right now, because I'm actually doing this. I think it was Miss Hamlet. If you could just make a comment. So also, if those of you out there who are on the talk tonight, just in the chat column, just ask your questions, comments, or what have you, and I'll be sure to get back to you on that. Okay. So at any rate, so let's move forward and talk about what's the point, what's the purpose of this 21-day purification program. So number one, what we're going to do is go through and purify the body. Now, is it possible to purify the body in 21 days? I don't think so, but it's a start. And so the whole idea is that when we go through this process for the next 21 days, and I would recommend that once we complete the 21 days, we will continue moving forward and maintaining a really good, healthy, nutrient-dense diet, meal plan after that. So the whole idea basically is to help to purify and cleanse the body. How do we do that? Well, number one, we want to make sure that we stop all processed foods. We want to make sure we cut out all cakes, cookies, candies, ice cream, sodas, soft drinks, dairy foods, alcohol, soft drinks, and sodas, and things like that are loaded with sugar, loaded with all kinds of chemicals. Even those of you out there who are athletes and maybe drinking the Gatorades and stuff like that, which is loaded with sugar, most of it high fructose corn syrup. We want to get rid of that stuff. Now, am I saying it's bad? No, I'm not telling you what is good or bad. All I'm saying is that we know that there are some things that will clog your system up, and if you've been eating a certain way for however many years you've been on the planet, and you have not done anything over that course of time to go through a process of detoxifying your body, then it's time for you to think about doing that. Just like if you've never been under chiropractic care, I would strongly recommend and suggest that you get with your chiropractor or a chiropractor and start getting under regular chiropractic adjustments for the rest of your life. Okay, we would be more than happy to open our doors to you out there who have never been to a chiropractor, or for those of you who've been patients at my office and have stopped care for whatever the reasons. I know we had a lot of people who, when COVID hit, they stopped coming in. And I've had conversations and dialogue with patients who say that they're still waiting for COVID to go away, and and all this stuff. And I would say to those out there, just realize that when you come into chiropractic offices, that we're going to be realigning your spine and nervous system so that your body can have a much stronger immune system. And with what we will be teaching, and just much like what I'm teaching tonight, that once you clean your system out, and then you replace all of that stuff that was causing you a great deal of harm with good, healthy, nutrient-dense meals, you're going to be much better off in the long run. And then top that off with getting adjusted on a regular, consistent basis. I tell you, there's no other way to go. So just remember the whole idea of the purification program and detoxing is to clean their system out. And I can promise you that the biggest problems that we see today in America and probably around the world is the whole problem with inflammation. All right, we have our body's inflamed. In other words, the bodies are on fire because of the stuff that we've been feeding it. You know, I've been guilty of it. I go off track every once in a while, and I can feel the effects of it. So when I am eating junk, like, you know, if I have cake or a cookie or anything like that, I can feel it the next day. You feel it in your joints, you feel it in your energy level being drained, you feel it in just mucus formation in different parts of your body. Your eyes water, your nose runs, you're coughing, you got this gagging that you're trying to get this mucus up out of your throat and out of your chest. Your joints feel sore. You feel like you don't want to go to the gym, you don't want to work out, you don't want to go for a walk, you don't want to do your meditations. So many things happen because what we've done is that we put toxins into our system that cause our brain and biology, everything to just start going crazy. And so, you know, I mean, you all out there who are listening to this tonight, you know what eating the wrong foods does to your body. You feel it, okay? Many of us think that simply because we age, chronologically we go through a process of aging every year, okay? But it doesn't mean that you have to think or believe that because you are moving up in numbers that your body has to be on a decline, okay? Obviously, we're all going to leave here, we know that, but to me, it's better to have preparing yourself on a daily, ongoing basis to make sure that you have a high quality life. And how we do that is how we fuel our bodies. And we fuel our bodies by what we put in terms of food, water, thoughts, what we see, what we listen to. All of those things have an impact on our physiology and our mental and emotional state. So it becomes important that we go through the process of purifying the system. And one of the ways we do that is, you know, as I said, twice a year, I do the 21-day purification program. That purification program is, you know, for me, I use the non-dairy protein that they have is a plant-based protein, and I generally would do it like 3 times a day with a fiber that they use, and also what they call the SP cleanse, standard product cleanse capsules. We do 7 of those 3 times a day. Generally what I do is open the capsules, put it inside my shake, add my water, add my fiber, stir it, let it blend up, and then drink it down. And for the first 10 days, we'll go through a process of nothing but vegetables and minimal amounts of fruit, because when we go through this process, what you'll find is that as you're going through this process and your body is cleansing and rejuvenating and getting rid of toxins, you may for the first couple of days feel a little lethargic, you may feel some headaches, you may feel like, why? Because your toxins are starting to come out of the system and it's trying to really get rid of it. Just much like a person who, you know, maybe going through detoxing from alcohol or drugs, they're going to feel something. The body is just like going to be fighting against you. Your body's trying to get rid of these things. And the first thought that will come to most people's minds is when you start feeling this way is that, well, if I could just get a little bit of whatever, the alcohol, the drug, the cigarette, some food, and that will calm the pain down. And you know what? It probably will calm it down, but now you're digging yourself into a deeper hole. And we want to get out of that. So we want to get to the point through this whole process of doing the 21-day purification, at least this is the way I look at it, is now we want to start learning how to be in control of the body. Okay, and, you know, kind of think about what Dr. Joe Dispenza, who has done a lot of work with neuroplasticity and how the mind and body works, how that we train the body, okay, over the course of years with our habitual habits, our thinking and things like that, and then all of a sudden the body now controls us. Have you ever had those experiences where you tell yourself that you're not going to eat certain foods, candies or whatever, and then you're driving on your way home and for some crazy reason your car takes control and drives you into a Wawa or a 7-Eleven or one of these little fast food stores that has all the junk, and before you know it, okay, You've got 2 or 3 candy bars or some ice cream, whatever, and you're sitting just just eating that stuff. And then once it's done, then you stop and say, what the heck did I just do? That's what we're talking about, how your body now runs you. And so we have to start working on by cleaning the system out on an ongoing basis, just constantly cleansing it through taking good nutritional supplementations and good food. And over a period of time, you'll find after the 3rd or 4th day, you start coming back to your senses. You'll start noticing that the mental fog that was there when you can't think right, or you just not there. Okay, you're very lethargic. Your thought processes are out, and then you're going to gradually begin to see how by doing this type of cleanse, you're going to start feeling better, thinking better. You're going to start sleeping better. You're going to notice that you're going to start getting up more energized. Just so many positive things that will begin to happen. Because why? Because you're nourishing your body with the right things, and at the same time you're detoxing, you're purifying, you're cleansing the system out, and in doing that, your body's going to function better. And let me add that, as we go through this process, this is why I highly recommend that we get adjusted on a regular basis. Because remember, when we have any type of stresses to the body, and those stresses can be mental, emotional, they can be physical, they can be chemical, they impact your brain and nervous system. And when the brain and nervous system impacted, it can cause and create what we call subluxations. We talk about how subluxations are minor misalignments where the vertebra are pulled out of alignment because of the contraction of muscle pulling the vertebra out, causing irritation to the nervous system. So now your brain doesn't have the ability to communicate to your body more effectively, or the way that it was designed and programmed to communicate with the body. And when I say the body, I'm talking about the systems of the body. Nerves flowing from your brain down the spinal cord to the vagus nerve, to all the different nerves in the body, and then to all the organisms in the human body, the organs, and your heart, your lungs, your kidney, your spleen. All those things are being impacted by the messages that are received from the brain, spinal cord, spinal nerves, and then feeding back to the body, back to the spinal cord, and then to the brain. So it's important that we understand this, so as we go through this process, as we go through this process, we understand what our body's going through. We understand what's the purpose of the whole process of doing this. And this is something we should all be thinking about anyway. I mean, think about it. We those of us who own automobiles will, in most cases, I'm not saying everyone, most times what we're going to do is every 3,000 to 5,000 miles. For some, maybe a little longer than that because of the synthetic oils that people put in their cars now. But typically, every 3,000 to 5,000 miles, you want to flush that old oil out of the car and put new oil in so it can actually run better. And to me, that makes sense to do for our human bodies. If you're constantly loading your body up with eating cakes, cookies, and candies, and ice cream, soda, soft drinks, and all those things on a regular basis, fried foods, French fries, going to these fast food restaurants and just putting this stuff into your system, at some point you got to realize that your system is going to start to clog up. And that's why we see such problems with the high blood pressure, hypertension, diabetes, pre-diabetes, all of these symptoms that we see happening. Cholesterol levels are going high. We go to the medical doctor, and what does he do? We get all kinds of prescription medications which do nothing to correct the problem. All they do is manage it. And then by doing that without proper education, what do? You're going to go home and think that because you're taking medication, right, that lowers your blood pressure, lowers your cholesterol, lowers your A1Cs, that's okay for you now because you're using medication to control these things, to continue going on and eating the same way that created the problem. And I can promise you what will happen is that condition will get progressively worse. And so now we wind up having in America today is what we see acute conditions that, because of the constant ignoring of those problems, now they have become chronic problems. And now we live in a world and a society where people are just constantly using all kinds of medication, especially the opioid addiction medications, to fight the pain, because people don't like being in pain. The body doesn't like pain. And so when things get really bad, we'll start reaching for anything, okay? And the reason why we do that, I think, is because that our thinking is not clear. And because our thinking is not clear, we'll go for whatever is advertised on our TVs every night or every day that you're sitting home watching TV. This commercial comes on, that commercial comes on, and your brain starts working and firing. Start thinking, well, gosh, maybe that's going to be the answer to my solution. While we're still sitting there eating the M&Ms and cakes, cookies, and candies, and thinking that we can just go ahead and take these medications and that's going to solve the problem. And all I'm saying to you, what is happening is you're digging yourself deeper into a hole. Okay, we're probably today, America probably uses more drugs than any other country on the planet. Okay, and when we are maybe 4 or 5% of the world population, we're consuming 70-80% of all the drugs on the planet. Something's wrong with that picture. So what we are here saying to you today is that we want to be able to help you navigate that more effectively. I firmly believe in the living a 100-year lifestyle, and so what does that mean? That means that we're going to do everything that we can, or I know that I'm doing everything that I can to make sure that I'm eating correctly. And I'm telling you, look, I've gone off track. I go off track. Okay, but my goal is to get right back on track the next meal. Okay, not the next day or the next week or whatever. And sometimes I slip. And I know, my family will vouch for that. I make mistakes just like any other person out there. But I tell you, I am so connected and so committed to living this 100-year lifestyle that I do everything I possibly can to be an example for not myself, but for my family, for my community, for my patients, to do those things so that at least they can say, well, if he can do it, I can do it. Okay, and I promise you that if you decide to come on board to do this, and in terms of doing the 21-day purification and detox program, and also becoming a patient, getting your spine adjusted on a regular basis, I promise you'll see a difference. You'll see a difference. And the beauty of it is being able to heal your body without the onslaught of taking all of these different kinds of chemical medications in your body. Okay? And one of the great things about this is that when you go through the process, as I said, for the first 10 days, you're just doing nothing but fresh vegetables, fresh fruits, and the fruits that we recommend during that time is berries. We want you to eat low glycemic fruits like your blueberries, blackberries, strawberries, and raspberries. Those are the things that we highly recommend that you start out with. And then you can add in some Granny Smith apples. And again, depending on, there are a lot of people out there may be pre-diabetic or diabetic. We want to make sure they, in particular, stay with the low glycemic fruits. But for the most part, we want you eating more vegetables than you do the fruits, because those vegetables are going to really get in and start cleaning your system out. Once we get into day 11, at that point in time, what we will recommend, okay, that you start adding in a little bit of protein, 4 to 6 ounces of protein. My recommendation is that I firmly believe that when you're on this program, you can do the 3 shakes a day, and as I said, that's the plant-based, dairy-free protein with the fiber, whole food fiber, and then for the first 10 days that you go through, you're going to be doing 21 standard process cleanse capsules per day. Okay, and it's not hard. All you got to do is open them up, put them in your shake, to water in, add everything, blend it up. If you want to add a little bit of blueberries in there, blend it up, make a nice little shake. You can do that 2 to 3 times a day. And then once we get into day 11, we'll actually move into doing what'll happen, we'll actually run into doing the same process, but now we're going to go into the SP green. So you're going to have some green supplements to help to alkaline your body more, system more. So sometimes people ask me, well, can we do some juicing and put in? Yes, you can. One of the things that I like doing is what I call the super green drink. And what I do is I'll juice some, let me think here. So we got the lemon. We'll do celery, cucumber, let's see what else, ginger, and kale. Okay, I'll juice those and I'll use that as my liquid to put into my protein shake. Okay, and we'll do that. So I go through that whole process, and I tell you this, you'll see the difference as we move through this. So I said, as you get through that 3rd, 4th, and 5th day, after you get your body gets acclimated, you're going to start noticing your energy levels going to start going up. Now, do we recommend that you exercise during that time? Well, what I would recommend is that you go out and do some walking. Okay, I'm a firm believer that you should be doing some form of exercise. I come from the mindset of Jack LaLanne. I mean, when I was a young kid, I used to watch him on TV, and this guy worked out every day. He did a full body workout every day. I'm not suggesting that you would do that, but what I do suggest is that you do some form of exercise on a regular basis, 5, 6, 7 days per week. I would strongly recommend that you do walking. Walk 30 minutes a day, sometimes 45, depending on how your body feels, just to get the body moving, get it active, help the body to sweat and get stuff out of your system. Now I'm in the gym typically 6 days a week. The day I missed because I just did not get the proper rest last night, and I'm a firm believer getting at least 8 hours of sleep every single night. I just feel that sleeping is so critical, and I know some people say I can sleep, get away with 5 hours, 6 hours. I just believe that the human body does better off of sleeping a solid 8 hours of sleep every night. Okay, so in order to do that, obviously that means that you have to get to bed on time so you can get up on time. Okay, I like getting to bed early, getting up. So in place of going to the gym today, what I did was I got in my sauna for 40 minutes. Okay. So I'll be back in the gym tomorrow, and typically my gym day starts at 6:30 in the morning, and I work out for 1 hour, get it done, get home, get showered up, and then come into the office, do my prayer, meditation, all those things. So I have a ritual that I do every day to make sure that I stay on track while going through this purification program. So as I said, we're going to, my goal is to go through purifying, and then as we do the purification, we're going to nourish the body by putting the right foods in, taking the wrong foods out. And then once we complete that 21 days, now we want to talk about how do we maintain that, right? Just like when I have my patients come in, we put them on a corrective care plan. We go through maybe 12 months of corrective care, and then when we move into the second year, we're talking about maintaining that. So what do? I strongly recommend at that point in time that patients get under care for at least twice a month, all right? And do that for the rest of your life. Well, and you might say, well, do I do it if I'm in pain? Or no, don't wait for pain to show up. The whole idea is to maintain your body's health by getting checked and adjusted on a regular, ongoing basis for the rest of your life. Okay, we don't want the mindset, of doctor, I'll see you when I'm in pain. Well, we don't want that to happen because the body doesn't like pain, and by the time pain shows up, that problem's been there for a long time, right? So we want to change the mindset. That means that we have to think differently. Okay, we have to think differently. We live in a world where today most people don't do anything about their health because they don't have insurance. Well, my thinking is, I look around when I drive past McDonald's, when I drive past Burger King, when I drive past Pizza Huts and all these pizza restaurants, lines and lines of people are out there getting this stuff, and I guarantee not one of them are going there and handing them in and asking do they take an insurance card. But they're paying for it, and they're paying for it in terms of what they're buying, and then they're going to pay for it by way of their health, because we know that most of the fast food restaurants sell you stuff that's going to clog your system up and eventually cause the high blood pressures, the hypertension, diabetes. We are feeding ourselves disease, and not without realizing it. So for most of you out there, you understand that we in here, if you don't have insurance, is not a problem. You can still come. We have an affordable fee for you to come into the office to get the care that you need. So all you have to do is call the office at 609-383-9121, and we will sit down with you when you come in and be able to set up a plan for you to get the care that you need. The purification program is a separate program that we do in our office. We do the program for a set fee of like $290, and that's for you to get the product and also for me to help coach you through the whole process. And then if you decide to come in as a patient, which we hope that you do, then we'll talk to you about what the fee will be per visit when you come into the office. Also, if you have families, we will create a family plan for you and your family, husband, wife, and children, to make it affordable for people to come in to get the care that they need. Again, we have to start learning. My goal is to teach. The definition of physician or doctor is to teach, and our goal is to actually teach you, to help you understand how to better improve your health so that you can live a more vitalistic lifestyle, okay? And not living a lifestyle where you go through life taking all these medications, then when you get to in your retirement years, you're spending your day looking at a clock to see what time you got to take whatever pills throughout the day. I think that is, like, to me, like being in prison. we want to change all of that. I'm telling you, like, look, I'm 69 years of age. When I go to the gym, when I go to put my things into the life cycle or whatever machine I'm getting on, they ask for the age. I put 33 in because I want to force myself to work harder when it comes to that machine in terms of the intensity or whatever in there. I don't take any kind of medication, so I want you to understand that it's possible for us as human beings that if we take good care of ourselves, that we can do and have a really productive life. I would also say this to parents out there, if you have children. There's never been a better time for you to get your kids on the chiropractic care, nor is it a better time for you to learn how to feed your children to make sure they're eating healthy. Okay? Instead of taking the McDonald's, learn how to prepare their foods. Going to the produce stores and making sure you get a lot of healthy vegetables that you can cook, whether you steam them or whatever, and start educating their taste buds to eating natural whole foods instead of eating all of these synthetic processed foods that they get, once they get addicted to. It's going to be hard for you as a parent to pull them off of that. But if you educate them at a young age and teach them how to eat the right foods, foods that are alive, foods that are going to bring about healing in their lives and give them and create more energy, instead of allowing them to eat all this junk food that gives them a burst of energy and then they're down, or eating foods that are going to cause their hormone levels to change, the endocrine system, all the systems will start to change in a negative way if we continue to feed them the wrong types of foods. So for those of you out there tonight that are really interested in learning more about doing the 21-day Purification Detox program, again, like I said, give us a call at 609-383-9121, and I'll be more than happy to show you how we can help you, support you in really turning your life around, because I know there are many, many people out there. I've had in the last 3 to 4 weeks, lots and lots of people come into the office that are coming back, or new people coming in wanting to learn how to get healthy and stay healthy and live a very healthy, vitalistic lifestyle. So we really appreciate you being here tonight. I will be back with you again on the second and fourth Tuesday next month. And what I'd like for you to do is share this video with as many people as you can. And we hope and pray to God that you learn something. And if you have any comments, leave them, and I will do my best to get back to you. And just have a super blessed evening. And thank you for being a part of this tonight. Have a great night.